When you decide to start carrying a gun, there's a lot of extra things that you will want to think about that maybe you never even considered before. And today I'm going to tell you 5 concealed carry tips for beginners that could seriously save your life. Now, even if you've been carrying for decades, maybe some of the tips on here could help you as well. Just to give you my perspective and my opinion on some of these things, we're going to dive right in here. You may imagine the life of a concealed carrier to be something like this. Hey Jen.
Yeah?
Does this gun make me look fat? Come on, baby.
Hey,
Yeah?
are you practicing with the drill again?
No, I'm fixing the wall.
All right, boys, come on.
Hey, no. Go to that seat right there. I need a clear line of sight in case somebody would put a break in.
Okay.
And as exaggerated as that may seem, there are some legitimate points I want to take away from that skit and tell you about right here. You should be rotating through your carry ammo at least once a year. Guns and ammo are all subject to one of the biggest destroyers, which is moisture. And so moisture can cause issues with the powder, it can cause issues with the primer. In short, it can essentially cause your gun to not go boom when and if you need it to. Gun oil, if you get too much gun oil, then that can affect the inside of the magazine. It can collect dirt. If you keep your gun loaded, well, that loaded round is isolated from the magazine. So again, moisture gun oil can affect the rounds in your gun. So if you rotate them once a year, you literally just take those rounds with you to the range, pop them off, whatever, and then put some new ones back in there. It's really a cheap alternative to what could happen if your gun just doesn't fire. And again, this isn't really a maintenance issue per se. This is more just elements around you that are hard to control. So rotate that carry ammo once a year. Never sit with your back facing when people are walking by you through high traffic areas or entrance points, especially inside of restaurants. A restaurant, especially when you go out with your family, is supposed to be a relaxing, a good time. Everybody's hanging out and having a good time. And I'm not telling you to be Mr. Paranoid, but what I am telling you is just choose your seats wisely. You don't have to make a big scene of it and, kind of kick your wife out of the way like I did in the skit, but what you can do is just say, hey, I like the scenery here better, or whatever it may be, but choose your seat wisely because you're right there. If somebody walks in and nobody around you is paying attention and everybody's eating, having a good time, then that could cause you precious seconds when we're talking about statistically, these things happen very quickly. So give yourself some space from the walkway. As well, this is a good idea not to be right up on where people are walking into the restaurant and things can happen a little bit quicker. You want to give yourself a little bit of extra time and be able to see what's going on around you. This is a general just awareness thing that you want to pay attention to. Now, if you're new here, concealed carry is a big focus of what I do, including tips, the latest and greatest concealed carry guns, holsters, belts, everything to hopefully make concealed carry as comfortable as it can be for you. And I also do rifle reviews and a host of other gun related content right here in one place. So consider subscribing to the channel, drop a like on the video and share it with your friends. And now let's get to the next point. You should be cleaning and shooting your concealed carry gun probably more than any of your guns. This is the gun you want to be your best with, and it also, you need to make sure it's your cleanest gun as well. Kind of goes back to what I was saying about ammo, but any kind of lint, moisture, anything like that that can cause your weapon to prematurely wear down You don't want that. You want that gun to be in almost perfect condition. You don't want to over oil again, but you want to protect that thing, wipe it down once a week, make sure it's clean after you take it to the range. And trust me, I'm not trying to sit up on a pedestal right now, because there's been times where I've taken my carry gun to the range and I've waited a few days or maybe even weeks before oh crap, I got to clean it. But it should be something you should have in your mind, like, hey, if I need to shoot this regularly and I also need to clean it regularly, and just make sure that it is top notch, ready to go, no issues. On that point as well, you may want to rotate magazines. Now, magazines don't have to be like ammo where you do it once a year, but I would say 5 years, maybe 3 to 5 years, somewhere in there, depending on how much you load and unload. Now, if you do like me, where I chamber around, and then whenever I get home, I actually unchamber it, throw that round back in the mag, and then pop the mag back in the gun. I throw that one in the safe, and then I have my home defense gun, right? So if you do that consistently and you're shooting it a lot, eventually that magazine spring is going to wear down. So if you've had a gun and the same carry gun for, let's say, 6, 7, 8 years now, and you've never changed the magazine, you may want to consider doing that. That could really help save your life. Magazine is a wear point, it's a wear item, it's something that should be replaced as you go along. Next point I want to mention, trigger control is super important, and you see me practicing with the drill and all this kind of stuff, but seriously, practice dry firing, dude. You can do this while you're watching TV. You could do it almost anywhere, inside your home of course, before you go to the range, and save yourself so much time, energy, and frustration by getting that trigger down at your house. Make sure all your ammo and everything's put away, be super safe with it, but at the same time, dude, you can do that, and really you will be amazed at how big of a difference that can make in your real shooting if you place like a bullet on the slide itself, pull that gun out, boom, pop a shot, and try to get it as smooth and straight back to the rear as possible, and then just keep working on that. I'm telling you, it really does work in translating to the range as well. Give it a shot, man, but dry firing and practicing that trigger control is super important. And not only on that side of it, but also keeping your finger off of the trigger. Remember, your carry gun should be loaded, and it's not going to fire unless you pull the trigger. Always practicing where your finger never goes in that trigger until you are ready to fire is super important. So have a really stable relationship with the trigger on your concealed carry gun, whether that's practicing dry firing or keeping your trigger finger off of the trigger until you are absolutely ready to fire. And again, that's another thing you can practice at home. Make sure you're not pointing it at pets or anybody, any loved ones in your home, but do it in a safe area, man, and really, you can seriously help yourself out the next time you go to the range. And the last one I want to talk about, this is so important, and something that you can work in with trigger control and dry firing, practicing drawing out of your holster. And when I say this, I don't just mean standing up, right? It should be sitting down, kind of like what I'm doing right here. Being able to get to it. What are the chances that you're going to be sitting down inside of your home? Well, they might be pretty good, actually. So you want to make sure that, hey, I can be able to get to my gun in time and get my sights on target in case somebody were to break in while you're awake. You never know. The whole idea is to be ready for situations that most people think will never happen to them. You're one step ahead of them because you're preparing for those things. So why not prepare for all of them? Sitting down, standing up, whatever the case may be, practice drawing out of your gun. I talked about this in a motorcycle video recently. If you ride a motorcycle and you wear gloves, make sure that a gloved finger can get in the trigger guard without forcing it in the trigger guard and having a negligent discharge. Now these tips right here I think are some of the best that I've been able to put into one video. I'd love to hear some of your tips, maybe some things that you've learned along the way, maybe some things that you're considering or concerned with if you haven't even started yet. I'd love to hear all of those down below because sometimes I get a lot of great ideas from y'all. And if you want to put your own list in the comments, I don't care, man. Just engage with other people, engage with me. Big thanks to you guys. If you want to support what I do, you can do that on Patreon for $1, or you can join the channel right here, man. Big thanks again. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.